Grandpa, Grandpa.
Oh, Atrium. How are you, my boy?
Can you tell me the story of 2020?
All right, if you wish to know. It all started ablaze, where Kangaroo Land was still very much on fire. A pesky little virus has just been discovered in China, and they're shutting stuff down, so hopefully it would be contained. It's been about 3 days, and the United States decided to drone strike Iran to assassinate one of their heads of state, which some say that he might have been part of a state-organized terrorist attack, but obviously it was pretty complicated. SpaceX started to announce internet satellite plans, which were later installed, as we know today. And also, a teen that was working at NASA at the time discovered a new planet in just 3 days. How wonderful things that young people can do. Alienware announced its UFO, which was a PC, but it's actually a Nintendo Switch, but it's actually a PC. And Cyberpunk, the most hyped game of that year, was delayed from April to September, and some people were mad, but they were willing to wait, and hopefully the game would have been good. And then, oh wait, what? Rats, that virus that was in China, well, it wasn't handled quite properly, and now there's a global emergency. China kind of showed the world also by building a hospital in 10 days, something that's quite impressive. There was some vlogger that was writing stuff against Putin, and he was found to be assassinated on a plane. It was quite disturbing, and it's stuff that definitely the UN has condemned, and they are thinking about doing things about. The US decided to unban landmines for a more even playing field, and Russia enjoys meddling in elections. Quite a few of them. India struck about 225 billion US dollars worth of gold, which is pretty impressive. And also, Britain left the EU, which, it's Brexit actually happened. The Oscars also happened that year, and, well, I had the lowest viewership yet, but it was also pretty impressive that Parasite won. It was pretty monumental, making it the first foreign film to win Best Picture. Oh, what is this? Oh, this COVID-19 virus. It seems to have hit the US much higher now, and unfortunately, with this virus spreading everywhere, a lot of widespread panic has occurred. Yes, the virus was very devastating, but a silver lining was that the environment was slowly improving, and this would be a trajectory that later years we would follow in. The Olympic was delayed, of course, and E3 was cancelled. Yeah, that makes sense. And also Sonic became the highest grossing video game movie at the time. Venezuela wasn't doing quite hot. It's been on a decline for a little bit at that time, and it's kind of hit critical mass with all the tension that was built up. China decided to ban a lot of multiplayer games and add a lot of other gaming restrictions to their country. And during this time of crisis, this pandemic, many countries' policies and powers kind of shift all over the place. Also, oil prices. Yeah, remember when those were still on everyone's minds? They were negative at the time, so people are actually getting paid to take oil. Quite funny, if I do say so myself. At the time, because people couldn't really meet up in real life, many video conference apps were used. That included Zoom, which was an app that was banned from a lot of companies due to its unsafe data encryption and also spike in this event of video trolling, which is quite comedic, but could be quite destructive. There was also the game Valorant that released that struck up some controversy with its anti-cheat and the amount of access that it grants. 5G conspiracies were up next, where people believe that the COVID-19 virus was linked to 5G towers. Today it might seem ridiculous, but in retrospect, a lot of things that humans do in the past have been really dumb. Brazil was famously anti-lockdown, making its infection cases quite high. Hong Kong protesters are still going strong, although China decides to pass new security laws that oppresses Hong Kong's autonomy. And if nothing were to be done, well, Hong Kong's autonomy might just be taken. There was a dam in Michigan also that broke at the time. Now, normally this wouldn't be much news, but the dam was toxic and it was quite a disaster. With the virus still in place, people began to work at home so that they can still be employed even at this time of crisis. And also, there was a coup that was attempted on Venezuela that failed horribly. In the middle of the year, the US attempts to reopen certain places so that the economy wasn't completely wrecked. However, the restaurants that were open really didn't see much, visits. This was also the time that police reform has really been brought to the forefront of the United States due to unfortunate incidents of police brutality. It was quite a historical moment in such a historical year. The SpaceX launch was quite impressive, and it was the baby step to this galactic society that we currently live in. The US attempted to let Russia join into the G7, which would make it the G8, but the other countries in the group respectfully declined. Australia also saw cyber attacks that were likely from the Chinese government. New generations of gaming consoles were revealed, and people were laughing at the models, but later, when they were actually brought into market, people were quite impressed by their performance. Cyberpunk was once again delayed, now to November. Diamond was no longer the strongest ore in Minecraft, and The Last of Us 2 happened. Following that, the President of the United States at the time, Donald Trump, decided to withdraw from the World Health Organization. Mixer also shut down. Following that, in the 8th month of the years, as the autumn leaves started to fall, there was an explosion in Beirut. An explosion that was catastrophic. It was around 10% the strength of Hiroshima, devastating quite a large portion of the city. There was also a coup in Mali. Uyghur camps in China were being investigated, and the President of the United States tried to ban TikTok. Also, the popular video game Fortnite decided to sue Apple and the Google Play Store. Following that are the cool breezes of September, where fire was caught in Brazil, decaying the already decaying Amazon. California and much of the West Coast saw blood-red skies due to its fires. Belarus saw corruption in its election, and there were cyber attack attempts at the United States 2020 election. However, these attacks were supposedly prevented. In the very spooky month of October, Armenia and Azerbaijan went to war. Thailand is demonstrating for less power to its monarchy, and many countries begin to talk about universal basic income, a system that might be a safe net into an automated future. And also, solar energy has become the cheapest source of energy. November came, and Joe Biden secured victory in the 2020 election. Although there have been calls for recounting, even at the time it seemed unlikely that this decision were to be changed. Luckily, the Azerbaijan-Armenian conflict has ended, Oregon decided to legalize hard drugs, and Poland decides to greatly restrict its abortion services due to its heavy Catholic influence. As December came, there saw mutations to the virus. Although much valiant effort has been put to fight against the virus. Cyberpunk 2077 has finally released, and I heard the other day that it's finally playable again, so that's glad, isn't it? And so just like that, the year comes to a close.
What happened next?
Well, that's a story for another time. Now, let's get you to bed.
Grandpa, when will I stop hearing the sound of lasers at night?
Well, I don't know much, but our species has always showed a tremendous amount of stupidity. However, we've also shown to be quite stubborn and resilient, and refusing to give up. We've overcome the coronavirus, we've managed to survive the Dolphin Rebellion, and we've made it through the Jupiter incident. So one day, I believe that we will successfully coexist with the gloopy gloppers.
I hope so too.
Good night, Atrium.